Yes. Mr. Chrisman, why don't you come on up? We're good with everybody trying. Still on the stand, telling the oath on direct examination.
So before we broke for lunch, you told us that you opened the door to the trailer. I'm showing you what's been marked as exhibit number 63 is presently in evidence. Can you see that exhibit?
I do.
With the exception of the bicycle tire that we see down at the bottom, does that depict what the inside of the trailer looks when you open the door?
More or less, yes.
Now, before we broke for lunch, you also had told us that you had a conversation with Elvira Fernandez, and initially that she said that initially you told us that she looked frightened.
Yes, sir.
Did she ever tell you that she was frightened?
Yes, sir.
What did she tell you?
She said she was afraid her son was going to hurt her, and she was afraid he was going to come over to trailer 15 and hurt her.
Now, when you opened the door of this trailer, what did you see?
Some gray colored dog, Australian Shepherd type dog, running towards the door, and was barking.
And when you had opened it, what did you say?
I announced Phoenix Police and said, Danny, come out and talk to us.
And when the gray dog came over towards you and was barking, what did you do?
I pulled the door closed slightly so that it couldn't get out.
Did you see anything else at that point?
I saw a tan colored pit bull.
And how was that dog behave? Tell us.
That dog was running towards the door, was barking, growling, just more aggressive than the gray colored dog.
Now, this particular space inside of this trailer, was it large or small?
It was pretty small.
And sir, Judge, with your permission, I'm going to have you come down off the stand. We've got some tape down here. There was some earlier testimony about measurements. Do you agree that the length of the living room was about 15 feet 3 inches?
Yeah.
Grant, I'm going to give you that side, and I'll hold this end. Can you make sure that that gray tape that we have down there is about 15 feet 3 inches?
It's actually 15'4" on the side.
All right. And let's come this way. This way there's 13 feet. Let's go down there. 13 feet 2 inches. There we go now.
Yes, approximately 13'2".
All right. And the tile area is 5 feet 9.
About 8 right there.
All right. And would you agree that this blue would have been the door that you opened?
Yes, sir.
And the blue here to my right, that would have been the doorway into the kitchen.
Yes, sir.
And this blue over here would have been, there was a couch, as we actually see in Exhibit 63.
Yes, sir.
Let me see, let me show you some of the exhibits.
This demonstrative measurement is not something that's going to the jury for whatever note-taking purposes you have.
I'm going to direct your attention here to exhibit number 307 as you take a look at it. This is the actual doorway area.
Yes.
This is about where I'm standing. And behind the doorway, what do we have?
Behind the door is the kitchen entryway and the bags, the garbage bags, the boxes, all the stuff piled up that you see right there.
So is this entryway actually open?
Yes. To the kitchen?
Yes.
Yes, sir.
But is there room for you to walk freely through there?
No, not with the door open.
I'm going to show you what's been marked as exhibit number 101. I ask that you take a look at that. Is this, if I'm standing here more towards the kitchen, is this looking towards what? What side of the trailer?
That's looking towards the west side of the trailer.
Right, and as we see up in the corner here, would that be the hallway that Mr. Mann told you about?
Yes, sir.
Now, you said that you see a pit bull. Yes. Direct your attention to the monitor behind you so it's a little bit easier to see. There's a dog laying there in the bottom. Is that the pit bull that you're referring to?
Yes, sir.
Is that direction it's coming from?
Yes.
I'm also going to direct your attention, if you keep looking at that monitor, it's a little bit clearer to see. The way that TV and those items are sitting there, is that the way it was when you opened the trailer door at first?
Yes, so there's no recollection. Yes, it is.
I zoom in here, what's behind the television. You see the object there with the little red end on it?
Yes.
This kind of shaft is multicolored.
Yes.
Sean, would you switch back on? Okay, go ahead. Okay, push it on. I'm going to direct your attention to this exhibit, which is previously in evidence. And do you see that same object now laying on the floor?
I do.
This is the other end of it, though, isn't it?
Yes, sir.
I'll go ahead and zoom in on there so we can see what that is. What is it?
It's an arrow, an aluminum shaft arrow.
I'm going to direct your attention to Exhibit 83, which I'm showing up here. Go ahead, Sean. It's about one more time. And one more time. Next to that black chair, we have an object, and we're going to use the digital photo to see a little bit closer. You see this area here?
Yes, sir.
What in fact did that turn out to be? These wires.
A compound boat.
For what?
A compound boat?
Yes. Is that a weapon?
Yes, sir.
Judge, I'm sorry.
Just the witness now.
No, I need to be first call.
Oh, okay. Martinez, I don't know. There's a legal issue that we need to deal with outside the presence. If you would step outside, we'll be ready. We proceeded, record reflect that the jurisdiction that we need to do a 104 hearing on the admissibility of 383, Mr. Gagnon and proceed. Yes.
Sir, I'm going to show you what's been marked as 383. Ask that you take a look particularly at the record in the center that's not been unredacted. That's a record for a particular individual.
Yes, sir.
Who's that record for?
Daniel Frank Rodriguez.
And is this information the same as what you in fact received on your NBC that day as you were driving to the trailer park?
Yes, sir.
Earlier you had told us that you had seen information pertaining to a drugs charge and a drug paraphernalia charge.
Yes, sir.
Was there some other information that you also had seen that day?
Yes, sir.
What was it?
Weapons violation.
And you had that information that day on your way?
Yes, sir.
Thank you, Your Honor. I intend to ask the witness this. I did not earlier because it had not been.
I understand. Mr. Martinez, you want to board diary the witness? Sir, where did that record come from?
This particular record,
Right. When you saw it, where did it come from?
Mr. Gann handed it to me.
No. When you first saw it ever, where did it come from?
My MDT.
And you're saying that your MDT provided all of that information that is in that document?
Yes, sir. There's one also, I don't see that one on here. Is there, yes.
And you recognize this specifically from the MDT?
Well, it looks a little bit different than my MDT screen, but I recognize the information on here, yes.
So the information on your MDT is different than what you have in front of you, right?
No, the screen was different.
The screen being different, it means the information was different. In other words, it was shown to you in a different fashion, right?
No, sir. Everything is pretty much in the same order. The screen's just larger, different colored. It's spread out a little bit more. It looks a little bit different.
And you remember specifically as you walked there that it included underhouse tax? Yes. So what did it include?
Drug paraphernalia, weapons violations, dangerous drugs. There was another one that included
No, on this one, what else did it include?
traffic.
It included the traffic, okay. What else?
That's it that I can recall.
I would object to the grade 3. That's just nothing about traffic. I was thinking about a different school. Well, that's additional information. You wanted to get that as well, but is that your only objection to 383? My objection to 383 is that this is not the information that was provided to him. He's not a custodian of record for this information. He can testify that he saw a screen, and in the screen it included X, Y, and Z, but he cannot vouch for it by bringing in this exhibit that he can't provide the foundation for it. Can't provide the foundation for it, as I just indicated, because he doesn't know what's on there. Officially, this is something that the custodian for the Department of Public Safety claimed the foundation for, but not him.
The investment rule, maybe he's admitted to office. Anything else? We're going to do that. Yes, ma'am.
Chrisman, this is what's been marked as exhibit number 383. I asked that you take a look at this document. You told us earlier that you had received some information on your MDC as you were driving to the location of this call.
Yes, sir.
And I believe you told us that you saw some information about the suspect involving drug paraphernalia.
Yes, sir.
What was the other thing?
Excuse me. Dangerous drugs?
Dangerous drugs. What kinds of drugs are those?
They're...
Is it a brand? Is it a classification of drugs?
It's a classification, yes.
Like methamphetamine?
Yes, sir.
Did you also see something else that you hadn't told us about up till now?
Yes, sir.
What else did you see?
Weapons violation.
You open the door, you see this pit bull. What does the pit bull do?
The pit bull's coming at the door. It's barking and growling.
So what do you do?
I pull the door closed a little bit more so that I can still see in the trailer towards the hallway, but the dog can't actually get out at me.
Is this dog more aggressive than the other one?
Yes, sir.
Do you say anything else?
I called out to the suspect, told him to come on outside and talk to us.
When you do that, do you see the pit bull's behavior change?
Yes.
What do you observe? Tell us.
The dog turned and ran back towards the hallway, stopping just short of the entry of the hallway. It lowered its rear end. His tail is wagging. His whole back end was shaking. His front end was shaking, and he was no longer in that aggressive state.
And while he's doing that, do you see someone come out of this back hallway?
Yes, sir, I did.
Can you describe what the person is wearing?
Yeah. He was wearing a oversized black baggy shirt that came down mid-thigh. It was short sleeve, but the sleeves were really big because of the shirt size. Underneath that was a white colored shirt. He had on gray dicky pants and a baseball cap.
And as the person comes out of that back hallway, are they saying something?
Yes.
What are they saying?
He was saying that he was yelling a bunch of obscenities and telling us that we had no right to be in his trailer, that we needed to get out of his trailer. I tried to explain to him that his mother had called and that we were there about a domestic violence call.
So you identified who the caller was.
Yes, sir.
When you say he was using obscenities, and it's very important, tell us, do you recall what words he was using?
He was shouting, "Get the fuck out of my trailer. You motherfuckers have no right to be in my trailer." And nobody was even inside the trailer at that point.
The door was just open.
The door was just open.
As he's yelling this, can you see, as he's yelling this, does he move anywhere in the trailer?
Yes, he moves towards the door.
And when he comes towards the door, are you able to see more about the person's features?
Yes, sir.
Tell us what you see.
He was, he had this 1,000-yard stare in his eyes, very hollow. He was very angry. His cheeks were sunk in.
Based on your training experience, have you ever had contact with someone who's under the influence of illicit drugs?
Yes, sir.
During your 9.5 years with the police department?
Yes, sir.
Based upon the information you had from your computer, as well as what you in fact observed in terms of the face and behavior, what were you thinking?
And he was high on that.
You said that he came towards you.
Yes.
You get as close as the door?
Yes, he got up into the tile area in front of the door, just at the edge of the door.
And so you're still outside,
Yes.
and he's right at the edge of the tile.
Yes.
What does he do?
He reaches up to close the door.
What do you do when he reaches up to close the door?
I stepped inside, put my hand on the door, and pushed it back open.
Why don't you let him close the door?
Because we don't, as police officers, you can't allow a suspect to create his own barricade situation. You never know what's inside that trailer or who's inside that trailer. And a subject in this state is angry and volatile as he was. You don't allow him to create his own barricade situation. You don't give him the opportunity to take hostages. And you don't give him the opportunity to close that door and start destroying any evidence that's inside the house.
At this point, do you know if there's anyone else in there?
No, sir.
Do you know if there's any evidence in there?
I can only assume that there is.
Based on what Mr. Mann has told you.
Yes, sir.
You've now stepped in. Do you say anything?
Yes.
What do you say?
I try to explain to him, I understand that you're not happy. I understand you don't want to deal with this and you don't want us here, but your mom called. She's made some allegations about a domestic violence. I just need you to step outside so we can talk about it and we'll get this worked out.
Does he comply?
No.
Why do you want him outside?
I want him out in a safer environment. The inside of the trailer is a very confined space, very cluttered. Anything and everything inside that trailer can be used as a weapon. And a subject in this state where he's so angry, he's cursing at us, he doesn't appear rational at all. I want him out in a safer environment, and I want to get away from that dog, from the pit bull.
When you ask him to step outside, what does he say?
He says he's not going anywhere. He doesn't have to go outside, and he doesn't have time to be dealing with us.
So what do?
I reach, with my right hand, I reach up and grab the back of his left bicep, and I said, just step outside with us.
And when you do that, does he comply?
No, he did not.
What does he do?
He jerked away, he jerked his arm free and smacked my hand.
Do you touch him again?
I did.
What do?
I moved closer and put two hands on him and tried to apply an OCCS wrist lock.
What is OCCS?
It's the O'Donnell Continuous Control System.
Is this something you're taught at the academy?
Yes, sir.
Is this one of these defensive tactics?
Yes, sir. It's an escort hold, a pain compliance technique.
And what is it?
It's basically where you grab with your right hand, you grab the upper side of the arm here, your left hand grabs the hand, and with your left hand you turn the thumb inwards this way while at the same time sliding down and grabbing the fingers. It's kind of a not a fluid motion, but kind of a step-up motions that have to work together. You bring the right hand down as the left hand is turning, and you get both hands on the wrist, and as you turn it inwards, it applies pain in the radial nerve here.
To get him to comply.
Yes, sir.
Did he?
No.
When you touched that part of his arm, what did you feel?
His arm was slick. It wasn't like greasy slick. It was slippery, wet, almost like not like a baby oil, like soapy water.
Are you able to keep your grip on it?
No,
What happened?
he slipped free of my attempt.
At this point in time, you touched him twice.
Yes, sir.
Where's Officer Virginia?
I don't know.
Is he inside the trailer there with you?
No.
After he pulls his arm back and it slips out, what do you do then?
As he jerked free, I reached in and grabbed my left hand up underneath the backside, underneath his bicep here. And I grabbed the other side of his bicep and tried pulling him outside the door.
Because you're still standing in this doorway there.
Yes, sir.
And when you try and pull him outside the doorway, how close are you to him?
Close, like shoulder to shoulder. I had my arm up underneath the backside of his shoulder. We're actually contacting.
So he's now up against you.
Yes.
When he's up against you, does the dog's behavior change?
Yes, sir.
Specifically the pit bull.
Yes.
How so? What happens?
He gets more aggressive. He's barking, growling, he's baring his teeth, and he's like lunging at me, but he's on the other side of Daniel.
Now, you told us earlier that you had some things with you, like pepper spray.
Yes, sir.
Did you think of using that on the dog?
No, sir.
Why not?
Well, there's a couple of reasons. The target area on a dog is the nose and the eyes. It's a very small target area. It's difficult to hit. But I've also owned a pit bull, and I came home from hockey with my kids, and he had chewed up a can of my pepper spray. It was all over my bedroom, and he was just laying in my room chewing on it. He liked it.
Did you believe that it would stop the dog?
No.
You also said you had a taser.
Yes, sir.
Where was your taser?
On my left hip.
And where's the suspect?
On my left side.
Are you able to even reach your taser?
No, sir.
Based upon your training experience, is a taser something you use with a dog?
No.
Why not?
It's, again, not effective. The animal doesn't, animals, they don't understand pain the way we as people understand it. They don't comprehend and rationalize. They can't put the pain compliance together with the commands. They feel the pain and they respond differently, and the response to something like a taser is usually aggression because it just doesn't comprehend that pain cycle.
When you're up against Danny and the dog is barking and growling, what are you afraid is going to happen?
I'm afraid that dog is going to attack me.
So what do you do?
I pulled my gun out.
When you pulled your gun out, what did you do? Tell us.
I pointed it at the dog and I yelled, "Get back."
Did you just point it at the dog?
No, sir.
What else happened?
I brought the gun up. I brought the muzzle of the gun. I did a barrel sweep and I brought it up so that Daniel could see it. And I yelled at him, "Call your dog off."
What's a muzzle sweep?
Muzzle sweep is just a motion of the muzzle of the gun from one direction to another. It's just a sweeping motion of the muzzle.
You just told us that you brought the gun up to the suspect's eye level?
To eyesight, yes.
Why?
So that he could see I had my gun out. I didn't want to shoot his dog.
And are you saying anything when you're doing this?
Yes.
What are you saying?
Call your dog off.
Do you ever take the gun and put it to the suspect's head?
No, sir.
Did you ever touch him with your gun?
No, sir.
Is that something you would ever do?
No.
Why not?
Well, a couple of reasons. You don't put your gun against somebody's head. You don't want to have an accidental discharge. And it also puts it right there in his grasp. You don't want to give him your gun.
When you bring the gun up and you say, get back, and you show it to him, what does the dog do?
The dog is still barking and growling.
But what does the suspect do?
He pushes off of the door handle side of the wall. He lunges backwards, pushes himself off of the wall back towards the edge of the tile.
Does he leverage himself then out of your grasp?
Yes, sir.
And once there's distance between you and the suspect, what does the dog do?
The dog backs off.
What do you do with your gun?
I holstered it.
Now what occurs?
I holstered my gun. I moved in and I tried to grab the suspect again with hands on.
Where are you touching this?
Again on the left side of his arm, his shoulder area, and he pulled free.
How did you do that? Describe it to us.
He just jerked back like that, bringing his arm up, just trying to get out of my grasp.
Did you ever see Officer Review?
At that point, I did not, no.
When he jerks away from you, the suspect, what do you do?
I pulled my pepper spray out, shook the can, and pointed it at his face.
Do you say anything?
Yes.
What do you say?
I told him outside on the ground now.
So you're giving command.
Yes, sir.
Does he comply?
No.
What does he do?
He just yells, "Don't you fucking tase me," or "Don't you fucking spray me."
At this point, you see Officer Review.
Yes.
Where is he?
He moved in at that point and tried grabbing the suspect's right arm.
Is this the first time you've seen Officer Review inside the trailer?
Yes, sir.
What do you do with the pepper spray?
I sprayed him right across the brow line and down the nose.
Why there?
To try and get it in the eyes, activate the tear ducts, and get a sinus reaction as well.
Do you spray it on Officer Virginia?
No.
What happens after you spray the suspect?
I put my pepper spray back in the pouch, and he was just yelling, why the fuck did you spray me? And I reached up and grabbed him by the shirt, by the shoulders, and tried pulling him outside.
And where's Officer Virginia?
I don't know.
When you grab him by the shoulders, what happens?
He tucks forward at the waist, he leans forward at the waist and pulls himself out of his shirts. The shirts come off. The sleeves are still hanging from his forearms, but the shirts have come off of his upper body.
What does he do with the shirts?
He just raises them up, wipes the pepper spray off of his face, and says it again, "Why the fuck did you spray me?"
Once he does that, do you hear a voice, another voice other than the suspect's?
Yes, sir.
Where is that voice coming from?
Outside.
Do you recognize whose voice it is?
Yes.
Who is it?
Officer Bergio.
What is he saying?
Tase him, Rich.
What do you do?
Pulled my taser out. Turned it on, transitioned to my right hand.
And I'm going to stop you there. Why do you switch from the left hand to the right?
The taser is kept on the left side. It's opposite your gun side. We're trained to keep it opposite gun side to reduce the likelihood of reaching for one and grabbing the other inadvertently. So when you try to grab the taser, it's muscle memory that it's here on the left side and not over here. So the taser comes out. I transition to my right hand because I'm right hand dominant.
And then what do you do with the taser? Or, well, you back up. Do you say anything?
Yes.
What do you say?
Again, I gave him commands to get down on the ground.
Does he comply?
No.
What does he do?
He just yells, "Don't you fucking tase me."
So what do you do?
I deployed my taser.
And when you deploy it, is it effective?
No, sir.
What happens?
He just got this enraged look in his eye. I remember him like reaching like for the wires, and I could see one of the wires, and I could see that it had no effect on him, and I tried to swing the wire up to make contact with his skin.
Were you successful in doing that?
No.
What do you then do at that point with the taser?
I started to strip out the cartridge that's on the muzzle and realized that when I got out of my car to catch up to Officer Virgilio, I didn't grab it.
Do you have an extra taser cartridge?
I did.
Where was it?
In my duty gear inside my car.
There's been testimony in this case that some people carry it on the actual taser itself. Is that your practice?
Nothing.
Why not?
Well, a couple of reasons. My waist is too small, so where it's mounted on my left hip, on this side over here, there was my magazine pouch in front of it, keeper between it. My radio would sit back here on the back side. And with the cartridge, it extends the handle of the gun, and it interferes with your radio. It switches channels, presses your emergency button, and it just becomes an officer safety issue, because just walking around with it, it can switch your radio over to a different channel and you won't even know it.
So there's a couple reasons. That's one of them. Any other reason?
Well, then you have the issue that you actually, it's recommended by Taser that you don't carry them there. Because it causes damage, the bumping, the constantly getting in and out of your patrol vehicle, bumping it on things, it can cause those glass doors to fall off. Once those glass doors come off, it's no good anymore. So even if you have it there and there's no glass doors, it's likely not going to be an effective tool.
So you reach up to the end of your taser, realize, I don't have another cartridge. Is there some other way you can use this device?
Yes.
Tell us.
Dry stun. You can place the muzzle up in contact with the skin, and while you don't get the same effect as you do with a good probe spread, it still causes a pretty significant amount of pain.
Is that what you did here?
Yes, sir.
And while you're doing that, are you giving commands?
When I dry stun it,
Yes.
I don't recall whether I did or not.
Is it effective?
No.
What happens?
He swiped down at the muzzle of my taser. I recall it being on I think the right side of his abdomen. It was in the abdomen area that I reached in and tried to dry stun him, and he just swiped at the muzzle of my taser.
So what do you do? When he swipes, what do you do?
I do a weapon retention. I pull it back in towards me and turn away like this.
When you do that, do you hear something else from outside?
Yes, sir.
What do you hear? Tell us.
I hear a pop sound, followed by a distinctive electrical cycle of a taser.
What's that sound like?
It's kind of an all-in-one noise, the pop and immediate tuck, 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 very quick.
And what do you see?
I see the suspect go rigid, his body stiffens up like a board, and he falls backwards
And when he falls, what does he fall upon?
on the couch on the north side of the living room.
I'm going to show you what's been marked as exhibit number 3 and 4. Actually, before I show that, I'm going to show you exhibit number 3 and 4. I ask that you take a look at that. Are you familiar with what that's a photograph of?
Yes, sir.
Is that a fair and accurate depiction of the living room as you saw it that day,
Yes, sir.
while these events are going on?
Yes, sir.
Defense moves to admit 384, Judge.
For the living and body.
All right, now I'm going to show you 384 up here. This is the couch you're talking about?
Yes.
I'm going to go ahead and switch over here. You hear this noise, and what does the suspect do?
He goes rigid, his body stiffens up, and he falls supine back down on the couch.
And the end of the couch he falls on is which one?
It's the one down in the bottom side of the screen where the pillow's laid down and the sheet is disturbed.
Show you what's been marked as Exhibit 63. Switch back to the camera machine. This is a long view of the couch. Is this what you're referring to?
Yes.
And we see on the one side, the left side, things seem to be kind of orderly, and on the right side, pillow's not good.
Yes, sir.
That's where he fell.
Yes.
When he falls onto the couch, what do you do?
Well, I move in and take a position of dominance over him. I move in, stand over him, and go to place him in handcuffs.
Why do you do that? Is that what you're trying to do?
Yes.
Can you touch someone while the taser's on?
Yes.
Are you able to handcuff?
No.
When you get over him and go to put the handcuffs on, what does the dog do? You switch back to the shot.
The pit bull, as I stand over him, comes from the hallway and around the coffee table that was there, charging at me.
So if this down here is blue as the couch, where are you standing if he's on the edge of or end of the couch? Come on down here and show us.
Pretty much right where you're at.
He's on the couch.
He's on the couch here.
And we saw from the diagram, where's the pit bull?
Right over here in the hallway.
Right there.
Yes, sir.
And it comes which direction?
Around the coffee table over here.
Let me have a seat. Take a look back up here at the exhibit. What do you think the dog's going to do?
Attack me.
You said earlier you used the term position of dominance. So you have that?
I do.
So what's position of dominance?
Well, position of dominance is like earlier when I was describing my contacting the suspect. Dogs are they're pack animals by nature. They run in packs, they move in packs, they respond in packs, and wild they hunt in packs. They will naturally protect their pack. Their
What's your life foundation relevance to this name?
You have a dog.
I do. I have two.
You're describing to us pack behavior. Have you ever seen your dogs exhibit that?
Yes.
You said the dog that you have is a pit bull?
No, not anymore.
The one that you saw exhibit this behavior, was it a pit bull?
Yes, sir.
Similar to the one here.
Yes.
Dog is charging at you. What do?
I move, take a step to create distance, draw my weapon, and I fire 2 rounds at the dog.
And when you fire the 2 rounds at the dog, where does the dog go?
The dog didn't really go anywhere. As it came around, as I saw it coming, and it was growling, I just moved and became a moving platform. I moved while I drew my gun and I pointed and I fired. The dog.
Wait, let me ask another question. When you fire the gun, what does the suspect do? Is he still laying on the couch?
No.
What does he do?
He jumps up and like lunges. He swings his hand out almost like he's trying to stop bullets.
Is he struck by a bullet?
No.
So he's now back on his feet.
Yes, sir.
The dog, what happens to the dog after you shoot?
I fired 2 quick rounds. The first one, I saw the dog move this way. And then after the second round, it just hit the ground. It stopped.
What does the suspect now do?
His anger elevates. He gets more angry. He swings at my gun. He reaches out and tries to grab my gun, and he's yelling at me, "Why'd you shoot my fucking dog?"
Does he touch your gun?
No.
What do you do?
I did a weapon retention. I pulled my gun back, tucked it back into my right. And I came back out and I gave him commands. Get down on the ground now.
Does he comply?
No.
What does he do now?
He takes a second swing at my gun. He reaches out a second time and tries to grab my gun.
What do you do?
I moved. I brought my gun back in.
Does he ever touch it?
No.
When you bring the weapon back in, do you move at all?
Yes. To create distance.
Where are you standing while this is going on?
Right around the tile area. Kind of around the edge of the tile area, I think.
Showing you exhibit number 63. Is this the view as you look in the door?
Yes, sir.
We have to the right the breakfast bar and these chairs and this box and everything. Was that all sitting there?
Yes, to the best I can recall, yes.
Was there also something else, though, we just see the tip of it lying down in this picture?
Bicycle.
Where was the bicycle while this is all going on?
The bicycle was up against the stuff that's piled up below the bar, right there.
So it's up over here near the couch?
Yes.
All right. Have you come down, man?
Yes.
Come on. Which direction is it facing?
Facing towards the west.
There's a lot of stuff there, so is it in front of the stuff up near the couch?
Yes.
And when the suspect gets up, which side are you on? Where are you at in this room?
I'm over here.
Come on over here, officer.
In this area.
You said that he reached for the gun twice.
Yes.
After the second time, does he reach for anything else?
Yes.
What does he reach for?
He moved over and grabbed the bicycle.
This bicycle.
Yes, sir.
Did he do anything with it?
Yes.
What did he do?
He moved towards me. I took a step back.
When you took a step back, what happens?
He raises the bicycle up and tries to hit me.
Next. What do you think he's going to do with that bicycle?
He's going to smash my brains in.
So what did he do?
I fired 2 rounds, center mass.
Is that where you're trying to shoot?
Yes,
Where did you strike?
center mass.
Where is that?
Right here. And right here.
When you do that, what does he do?
He falls.
And when he falls, I'm going to show you what's been marked as exhibit number 101. We've seen some pictures earlier. Does he end up falling on basically his neck and head on the seat of this chair when going on here?
Yes.
And where does the bicycle end up?
The bicycle just falls right in front of me. It falls kind of over him.
So this podium is the chair. He's on the ground. And how are you?
I'm sorry, I
How
didn't
are
hear
you
you.
standing?
But the podium is the chair, and he's on the ground.
He's here.
When he fell, I kept my muzzle pointed at him.
So you're still pointing the gun at him.
Yes, sir.
And at that point, do you see Officer Virgilio again?
Yes.
Where is he?
He walks in past the muzzle of my gun.
He was outside?
Yes, sir.
You said he walked past your gun. What does that mean?
He walks right in front of the muzzle of my gun. steps over the bicycle and stands between the suspect and the coffee table.
Why do you still have your gun on the suspect?
I just trained to do that, to assess the threat.
Are you trained to walk in front of another officer who's got a gun drawn?
No.
Do you direct Officer Virgilio to do anything?
I didn't direct him to do anything. I said we need to cuff him and we need to work him.
Cuff meaning handcuff.
Yes, sir.
And what is working?
CPR. We need to check his vitals and provide CPR if necessary.
When you say that, how does Officer Virgilio respond?
He just said, what the fuck for it? He's dead.
Do you leave the trailer at that point?
No.
Why not?
So we still need to clear the trailer.
What's clear the trailer? What does that mean?
We need to go through the trailer, make sure there's no other suspects or no other individuals inside that trailer.
So where do you go? Take us to this exhibit. Which for the record is one.
Right, the hallway, just on the other side of that wall, there's a doorway. I moved up to the doorway, and it didn't have a door, it had sheets, or a sheet hanging over it.
And are you able to see very well inside that room?
No.
What do you do?
I moved the sheet open and peek inside, and I can't really see anything, so I ripped the sheet down to try and allow a little bit of ambient light, which there was almost none inside the room.
You go inside?
I did.
What are you able to see?
Pretty much nothing. I mean, I couldn't really clear the room. I didn't have a flashlight on me.
Officer Virgilio's where?
He moves down to the bathroom, which
That's
is
the next
the
room?
next doorway down the hallway.
Is he clear the bathroom?
Yes.
And where do you go?
I move into the master bedroom.
And when you're inside of the master bedroom, first of all, are you able to see in there?
Yes.
And what do you see?
I see the gray-colored dog was just sitting back in the. I see a dresser with a bunch of stuff on it, like hair products and stuff. A couch, closet with like women's clothes and stuff in it.
You clear that room?
Yes, I did.
After you do that, where do you go?
I moved back out to the living room.
And what does Officer Virgilio do?
He walks out of the trailer.
What do you do at that time?
I gloved up and checked the vitals on the suspect.
Do you have a pulse?
No.
You said you gloved up. Do you carry gloves?
Yes.
Is that a regular practice among police officers?
Yes.
After you do that, or shortly thereafter, do you see other police officers?
Yes.
And where do you meet?
After I checked the vitals, I stepped outside the trailer. And I was right on the patio outside the trailer.
And what other officers come up?
Officers Rudy, Kincannon, and Barrios.
Do you ask Officer Rudy for anything?
Yes.
What are you asking for?
I asked him for a flashlight
Why?
because I wasn't comfortable with the clearing up the one bedroom.
So you give you a flashlight?
Yes, he did.
Where do you go?
Officer, I believe it was Officer Kincannon and Officer Rudy followed me back into the trailer. I don't know which one. One of them took the kitchen because I said check the kitchen, moved in down the hallway, cleared the bedroom, and then left the trailer.
You attempt to give the flashlight back.
Yes.
Does Officer Rudy take it?
No, he put it in. He held out a property bag for me to put it in. He didn't have glove on it. He didn't want to get the biohazard all over it.
Biohazard. What's on your gloves when you check the biohazard?
Blood.
Shortly thereafter, supervisors arrived?
Yes.
Were those Sergeant Manson?
Yes, sir.
Sergeant Wallace?
Yes, sir.
And what does Sergeant Wallace do with you?
He takes me and we set in his patrol vehicle up towards the end of the road opposite where the trailer was located.
You're there for some time?
Yes.
And while you're sitting there, do you start to feel certain things?
Yes.
What do you feel?
Sexual relevance.
Do you feel anything on your skin?
Yes, sir.
What do you feel?
Pepper spray.
Is it making you uncomfortable?
Yes,
Do you comment on this to Sergeant Wallace?
I did.
Does he take you anywhere?
Yes, he did.
Where do you take you?
To the South Mountain Precinct.
And at the South Mountain Precinct, where do you go?
I went into the bathroom, used the restroom.
Did you wash your hands?
I did.
Face?
Yes.
Straight your uniform?
I probably, yes.
I'm going to show you what's been marked as exhibit number 202 that you previously identified. Prior to you going to the South Mountain Precinct, when Sergeant Wallace took you, did anybody tell you, don't wash your hands?
No, sir.
Did anybody tell you, don't straighten your uniform?
No.
How long after the incident was this photograph taken?
8 hours.
Your uniform was ultimately collected?
Yes, it was.
Good luck.
Yes.
When you opened the door of that trailer and the suspect came to close it, you stepped in. Is that what you're trying to do?
Yes, sir.
When you attempted to grab a hold of him and he pulled away from you numerous times, is that what you're trying to do?
Yes, sir.
Using OC spray in the way that you did, is that what you're trying to do?
Yes, sir.
Using your taser the way you did, is that what you're trying to do?
Yes.
And ultimately, when someone takes a bite and tries to bash your brains out, and you fire your weapon, is that
speculation?
is that what you're trying to do?
Yes.
Why didn't you call a 906? What is a 906?
It's kind of an urgent request for a backup
Why didn't you call for backup, sir?
because I thought I had one.
Officer Virginia.
Yes, sir.
Judge.
Do you have cross-examination?
I do.
Rather than interrupt or take the afternoon break at this time, ladies and gentlemen, please remember the allegations please all the mind on this case. It's 245.